here we are. We're back with the Vacuous perspective. I'm Val, joined always by my co-host Nate.
You are looking great today, Val.
Oh, yeah, you always comment on how nice I look. It's such a nice little start to the episode. I always get a nice compliment on how I'm looking, which it's always a nice thing.
You always look the same, so I should always be saying that you're looking good.
Yeah, well, okay. Isn't this a bit of a trap?
How so?
Because the pessimist would say, if someone says you look great, it's some sort of improvement on the norm, right? Meaning, anytime they didn't mention that you looked great, you looked shit or worse than this, right? So, oh my God, you look amazing is sort of like, you look terrible.
Take it for what it is.
I'm taking it. I'm taking it straight to the bank, man. No, I already said it was a nice thing. I'm just, the pessimist inside me is saying, must look shit.
Why? Yeah, why today? It's amazing. You're like kind of looking into it, thinking, well, like, why today? Why is he saying that?
Yeah,
I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to say it every time.
Yeah. See, now there's a different thing happening. Now he's saying it because he said he has to say it every day. You know what I mean? Maybe some day I don't look great, and I know I don't look great. And you tell me that I look great, I'm gonna be like, man, not applicable right now. I'm an animated character. I'm sure I look great.
Yeah, maybe you can change your animated character look, and you can come across as a bit tired or sick.
Yeah, and then what would you say? That I looked great?
No, I'd change it up.
You look like shit.
Change your hairstyle. Get a haircut.
Yeah. No, I haven't got a haircut. I'm approaching that point where I feel like I should probably get a haircut, but haven't done it.
I think I've started a new form of art, actually.
Go on.
Which relates to hairstyles a little bit. I haven't mowed my lawn in a while.
Right.
And the other day it got quite late, and I thought I need to do this, right? And I got this electric lawnmower, and I started on the side closest. I've got quite a large long road frontage because of a long block. So it's about 25 meters of grass at the front. And then I started at the part of the grass that is closest to the house. So it's about 25 meters long that runs along the road, and about maybe 8 meters deep towards the house. So I started at the part of the grass that's closest to the house, and I just do long runs up the 25 meters lengthways and then turn it around. I go back and back and back, of course. And then because the grass was a little bit longer and it was a little bit dewy, I think the engine thing had to work a little bit harder. And so it ran out of battery. And so I got about 3/4 of the way through, or maybe 4/5 of the way through, moving from the house towards the road. And then the last sort of meter or eight sort of meter towards the road hasn't been cut. So it's kind of got this like weird like mullet sort of look near the road.
Oh, and you're thinking of letting it grow out. You're thinking you've got the haircut to let it grow.
Well, it's so because their battery ran out. I was like, there was nothing I could do about it. So I was like, well, that's it. That's it for my lawn this week, Or like I normally do it every sort of 2 weeks, but it'd been about a month. And so it's really obvious because you can see all it like when you just go do the mow the lawn in lines. It's really clear you've mowed the lawn because it looks like really nice and kind of it's got a pattern to it, and then it just gets to the bit near the grass, and it's just like this rough part. And it's pretty cool. Well, I looked at it and I was like, it looks pretty cool actually. Like I got to drive past. Yeah.
What I think you should do is probably mow the entire lawn except for a tiny patch, and that tiny patch is allowed to grow to show where the grass would be at had there been no intervention.
Yeah. Just leave a 1 square meter patch.
1 square meter. Just let it go.
I'm going to do one of those in the middle of the left side and one in the middle on the right side.
There you go.
Yeah, that's cool.
This is art now. We get some art done.
Yeah, a bit of lawn art.
It's great. Speaking of art.
Yeah.
I remember ages ago I wanted to, because he makes it look so fucking easy, do a Bob Ross painting with the oil paint. So I did all my research. I got the right paints. I did the right things. I'm watching the video. I can't concentrate on the video. I'm struggling so hard. And my finished product is pretty much every single thing I ever paint ever, which is just terrible. But I tried, but I didn't really apply myself properly. But I remember you also did this with your girlfriend. You guys did Bob Ross paintings, and they fucking rock.
Man, we really lucked out.
What do you mean you lucked out? You guys crushed it.
No, well, I think there's a bit of technique and involved in it. Like you have to know the consistency of the paints and things like that. Like, and you start with it's wet on wet, right? So you put white paint on the base, and then you paint on top of that.
Correct.
Getting the consistency right is super important of that white stuff. And you're supposed to buy, like you can buy Bob Ross white, which is like a mix of the white, which I've got and I've never opened it.
What's it called again? It's called something. It is called something white, right?
Yeah. Liquid white? Liquid white.
Yeah, liquid white. Yes. Okay, yeah, go on.
I have some Bob Ross branded liquid white that I bought online that has a little face on it. So I assume it is, in fact, affiliated with him. That's
great. Yeah, so you got the right equipment. Yes.
But I didn't use that on the first one. I think you can use, like half some kind of oil and half some kind of the white paint, and you mix it all up, and that's like close to liquid
that's
white.
What we did. That's what me and my mum did when we tried it out.
And I think that's where you can go wrong. And then the amount of that you put on the canvas, getting the consistency right, I think is difficult. And this is what I mean about getting lucky. When I started trying to do the background, because you know how you do a very general background that you're going to then paint on top of.
Correct.
I had given up because it looked so dog shit.
Yeah.
So the girlfriend kept going, and I'd literally sat down and thought, that's the end of my painting. Like there's no recovering from this. It's too.
That's how I felt. Yes, moist. Yes.
And then because I was just sitting there waiting for the girlfriend to do hers, I kind of got bored, and I thought maybe I can save this by just removing some of this wet paint from the underlayer. So I just kind of got a fresh brush and just tried to get rid of as much as I could, and then I just plowed on.
Yeah.
And it was actually really good. I'll send you a pic.
Yeah.
I was really stoked with it.
I'll put a pic up for sure because it's great. It's really good. It's really well done.
And then the last one
when you sent it to me, I couldn't believe it. I went, no, because we'll put a picture of mine up just for, there it is there.
Yeah, there was these two other girls I used to live with, and they left when me and the girlfriend were painting away. Like we just started, like literally just like laid brush on the thing, and they saw us with the laptop there, and we're going along, and they left. And I know they were thinking like, oh geez, this is going to be
dog shit,
good luck kind of thing. Yeah, here they go, because we had no idea. They could tell we had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah,
we're having a great time though.
Yes,
and they came back. And we unveiled them, and you could tell they did not believe it. They're like, "You did this." They thought we were playing some kind of prank or a joke.
I thought we were playing some sort of prank. It was, it was amazing.
Did you do a cabin?
No, mine was. I picked my one. Like I picked it. Right. It's meant to be. I think it was one of those classic mountain peak. Maybe there was a cabin.
There's always.
I think there was meant to be a cabin. Yes.
There's always a cabin. There's always mountains, trees. There's not a lot of variety, really.
Happy trees. What did he used to oh man. Happy painting. God bless.
Speaking of mountains.
Yeah.
You probably weren't paying attention, but the Tour de France just finished up on Sunday.
Yes, I did hear about it on the news.
I know it's not really your thing.
Yeah, no, tell me more. I need your perspective because mine is lacking.
I'll just go into one stage because I think this will interest you a little bit. It's called Alpe d'Huez.
Yeah, this is a stage?
It's a mountain. It was a finish. Like the stage itself was from somewhere to Alpe d'Huez. And it's probably the most iconic climb of the Tour de France.
Yeah,
It's
because
not.
so it's the hardest as well, I presume.
It's not the hardest, actually.
Right.
It just has a lot of notoriety associated with it. It's difficult. It's definitely very hard. It's 21 hairpin turns winding their way up a mountain. And the reason that they're hairpin turns is because, like, I guess it's. I'm wondering why they do it, because they just, you don't have the area. It's going up quite steeply. It's about an 8% gradient, and it's 14 kilometres.
14 kilometres uphill, 21 hairpins, right? So you've got a hairpin every 700 odd metres. You've got an incline of what?
8%.
And what? Okay, so what is that? 8% of.
It goes up 8 metres every 100 metres.
Okay.
But I'll try and give you some context soon. I don't think that's important. I think it's probably important to know. I'm trying to think of a hill you might be familiar with. Like a decent hill will be 5%. Hills get, like, around us, the steepest hills you can find, like Mount Street in up into Kings Park, is 10%. So we're nearly dealing with Mount Street for 14 kilometres.
Right. Okay.
It's serious, right?
It sounds pretty nuts.
But the reason why I think you might be interested in it is this year's Alpe d'Huez. It features probably every second year because the Tour de France changes route all the time. But this, because it's an iconic climb, they often try to include this mountain. But this year it fell on Bastille Day.
Yes. Okay.
Which is like the French national holiday.
Yes.
Pretty much like Australia Day. And people it's always a big celebration for Alpe d'Huez, but this one coincided with Bastille Day. So you get huge numbers of people. This year, it was estimated they had 1 million people on the mountain.
1 million people on the mountain.
1 million. And people get there weeks in advance to get a spot.
Mm.
They're drinking for days in advance.
How does the local area support this?
I don't know. It's a ski resort.
People.
It's a ski resort. So I guess it can. But I think they've just come from all around. Like, a lot of people are, like crazy kind of, what do you call those sort of, those hooligans that follow the carnies. They're like carnies, like some people. They they go to every stage of the tour just following it around France kind of thing. But think about 1 million spectators.
Running onto the course, apparently. Like what?
Well, there's no security. There's no security keeping people off.
Of course, it's too long. It'd be too hard.
So this is the one that you may have seen scenes of everyone's crowding around. The riders are strung out because it's such a long climb, and they're all got their flags and their smoke bombs and their flares and everything.
Just having a good time.
And they've been drinking for days, some of them. Yeah. And this is 10 MCGs of people stacked up.
Yeah. I was doing the numbers. I was trying to think if there was an event that is held in Australia where 1 million people would rock up, and there isn't.
No, it's chaotic crowds, party atmosphere. It's like Glastonbury for cycling fans.
Wow, get on the mountain. There's 1 million other people doing it.
I would love to do that one, particularly if I knew it was on Bastille Day. I think that's the kind of thing. So it's the party. It's the party for cycling fans.
There is 1 million fans of cycling in Europe that will descend on a mountain, or is this Bastille Day affecting it?
I think this amplified it.
A crucial thing.
Yeah, I think it really. I don't know if it doubled the crowd, but it made it a real celebration.
I'd be interested to see what like a regular mountain crowd is.
Well, yeah, the Alpe d'Huez, that is the mountain for the party. That's like a nominated party mountain. Everyone knows that there's going to be a party, but this one in particular was going to be big.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because Bastille Day. Okay, great. Yeah, got it.
So that one, 14Ks at 8% is around, I think it's around 1,250 metres of elevation. Okay. The cycling trip I'm going on in 2 weeks, on one of the days, there is 2 1,400-metre climbs.
Yes. And
a 1 kilometre climb.
Well, that'll feel like dessert at that point, right? Oh my God.
It's so absurd. So I go out and I try and find I go to the biggest hill near my house.
Yeah.
I'm in a hilly area. I think I've mentioned this to you. It's 750 meters at 6.7%.
It's not good enough.
So I do 10 of them.
Yeah.
And that's the equivalent of 7.5 kilometers at 6.7. And I'm done. But I'm having a break all the time. So I don't know how I'm going to go with, harder than the outdoors. Yeah. But anyway, that's...
You're a bit like UFC featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski. You're a bit like him in that every time you've gone to do a big marathon or a big cycle or whatever, you always get it done somehow. It's the same with Volkanovski. I've counted him out of every fight that he's ever been in the UFC. I've gone, he's not going to win this time. He can't. His competition's too stiff. It's too difficult. It's the same. It's not the same with you every time, but when you do the really big numbers, I start thinking like, he somehow got this. He's somehow got this. I don't get it.
Oh, I'm glad you're confident. I'm getting a little bit worried about this one actually. But you're on a bike, like how you just keep plowing along, don't you? Like,
yeah, dude. I think you'll be riding the bike. I think you've got this covered.
I'll definitely be riding the bike.
You might get some Bob Ross like scenery ideas when
you're.
Oh, out.
Yes, you're quite right. The mountains started making me thinking of France. Yeah. Maybe I'll bring my oil paints along, bring my liquid white.
Yeah, you can afford to take some luggage on the trip, right? It's not, you'll be okay.
I write down things that, like habits or things I want to do. I've got a whiteboard. I've written down all the things I want to do. And one of them was paint every fortnight.
Wow.
And I keep scrubbing out the time frame, and I think I've got paint 4 times a year. I haven't done one since COVID started, so it's been about 2 years since I've done one.
Yeah,
and I really liked it. It was kind of meditative, but I also just can't be fucked. I just can't. It's too much. Like it's another thing, like painting, like just finding this moment where I feel like everything else is in order and I can just like paint something. Doesn't really happen.
That's fair. That's fair. Bob Ross was a beautiful human being, by the way. Lovely guy. Apparently, warehouses full of his artwork because he was so quick, right? He could do...
But he also didn't sell them, right?
I don't think so. That's what I mean. It was just like every episode of that show I think there's 3 versions of every painting. You know what I mean? He'd have like 3 versions of every single painting. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy how easy he does make it look. He's got the right tools. He's using them effectively. It's amazing.
Because I think I was watching a YouTube once where someone wanted to buy a Bob Ross for his girlfriend potentially because she loved Bob Ross, and so he was trying to get her a birthday present. He started Googling, where can I even find them? Where can and
buy them?
And they're nowhere. Other than in this, I think basically in a warehouse, just stored away. What a travesty.
That is sad. Here's a quote from Bob Ross that I found on one of his old episodes. Yeah. He's painting a beautiful tree. Could be anywhere in the world. It's Bob Ross's imagination. There's beautiful clouds in the background. He says, all kinds of beautiful things are happening. And I would really like to thank you. I feel as if I know if I know you and if we're good friends, it does wonderful things to my heart.
He is such a lovely man. He's a beautiful soul.
R.I.P. Bob Ross.
How did he die?
I don't know, but check him out on Twitch. He's still streaming.
Oh, and that hair. I remember this one episode, he just started going on about this squirrel that he either found or was his pet. He just kept
animals all the time.
He just kept going back to it. He just couldn't believe how beautiful this little thing was.
Oh, it's amazing. We talked a few weeks back now about I think it was about how F1 has some of the biggest babies ever in it.
Hamilton.
They complain when things aren't going their way. They're always on the front foot if they feel like someone has done something that has impeded them.
Petulant children.
Yeah, there was a recent example where they're always there's teams, right? So there's teams in F1, and the teams have 2 drivers. So when your driver is 4th and 5th, there's always this internal struggle going on because the other guy, although they are a team, they're both very competitive. They both want to win the Grand Prix. If you get to win, at one of these places, any of the tracks, if you win, they are very excited when that happens. This is not a normal thing. This is very big for them, right? So there's always going to be this, let me in, I'm faster. Let me in front.
Get out of my way.
Get out of the way.
Teammate,
right?
fuck off.
Yeah, and occasionally there has been instances where teammates have fought for a position so hard that they've crashed each other out, or one person's been taken out of the race, and it's never a good thing. And
it's delicious.
Animosity central. It is delicious. And have you started watching it, Drive?
No, not yet.
You should get into it because it really gives you that insight into, in some ways, into how their brains are processing all the. There's these team struggles, right?
Yeah.
And on the recent one, it was, let me in, I'm faster. Let me in, I'm faster. And then they did eventually go, look, you have to hit a certain lap time. Otherwise, we're going to reverse the position. Like the team.
Wait. So does one teammate talk to the other one via radio, or does one teammate talk to the base and then the base tells the other teammate what's going on?
There's no direct comms between the drivers.
Okay.
It's driver to their guy. And it could be the same guy. I don't really know, but maybe the other driver has a different guy. So
I think they'll have different guys. They want their own guy.
They must have their own guys.
Can you imagine you're trying to talk to the guy and he's like, "Sorry, mate, busy talking to Ricardo here. Hold your horses."
But he was talking to him, saying, "Look, let me get in anyway." They sort of said at one point, "Look, you need to hit a 38.9 second lap, otherwise, give it over, right?" And he didn't do it. So they did have to reverse the position, right? So they did. And he was like, yep, cool. All right, fine. Right. Now, later in the race, he's behind him and he's going, guys, let me in. What's going on? Why aren't I going? Why can't I go in now? Because they're competitive. They want to win. They want to win the race. I think he did win the race. That was Sainz in the end. I think it was
What's
Sainz.
his first name? Is it
this one?
Carlos? Yeah, okay. I've heard of him, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, this is not relating to F1, by the way.
Okay.
I was trying to think of sports where people did act like, as you said it, petulant children, and a reversal of the decision can be done, right? Because we've always seen AFL players argue with the umpire. It's like, I didn't kick that. And they go, oh, didn't you? Sorry, my bad. Bring the ball back. Sorry, I thought you kicked it out of bounds. Whatever, right? Like whatever it is, right? I touched that. That was touched. Oh, was it? Oh, sorry. The gentleman said that he touched the ball, so it's a point, right? So
yeah.
It never happens.
Never.
Is there a sport where it happens? I don't even know.
Not that I can think of. No.
Where you can converse with the umpire and
convince him. Oh well, actually, the only one I can think of is cricket.
Yeah, I was thinking
the appeal for sure.
Right.
Sometimes they even do the double appeal. They kind of appeal and they're just like, no, I really think it's out.
That's a really weird element of the sport, is that you have to ask the umpire if it is out.
What's different is they're not forced to make the decision right away. They can marinate on it, and that's why the appeal can be effective. Because you fill him with confidence. Your confidence fills him with confidence.
Yes.
When you instantly appeal in a confident manner, it's really hard for the umpire to say, like, man, I see what you're looking at. We're both looking at the same thing. I think you're right. Your excitement is warranted.
But that's not the same thing, because appealing is part of the game, right? It's not a part of the game where they're not arguing with the umpire, because, for example, if someone goes not out, right? The umpire goes not out, and then they go, how's that? Right? There's not then a, oh, yeah, okay, you guys are pretty confident. All right, well, let me have a think then. All right, out. Right? I was thinking Gilly did it, but he did it himself. He reversed a decision.
Mm.
He said, no, I'm walking. Right?
Yeah.
So that's not the same thing either.
Yeah, so in that situation, what was the context of that one? Do you recall what? It was a big game. I think it was the World Cup. It may have been the World Cup final, and they needed him to have an impact.
A
big Nick. Umpire says not out.
Yeah.
And the appealing team, whoever it was, is just like, mortified. Yeah. They think they've missed out on a big opportunity. Gilly takes matters into his own hands.
Yep.
Just walks.
In one of the most, in the moment, it's not a good move, but it's regarded as a very honorable thing that he did. And it's pretty much it is the standard. People shouldn't knowingly deceive the game, right?
No, he's very honest. Wait, I might be giving him a little bit too much in that. Was there an appeal? Was there an appeal and then a not out given, and then he just started walking, or was it all in one motion? Okay, so he
almost instantaneous because he
knew he had survived the decision.
Correct,
and he just instantly just was like, nah, he's wrong.
Gloves off.
Okay,
yep. So
impressive.
The way I remember it, and this could be wrong, is the nick happens, the catch, obviously, the appeal, and the camera is focused on the group of men who are appealing and not understanding why he's not given out. And the next camera shot you see is them pointing at Gilly because he's already started walking. He's leaving.
Can the umpire then say, no, mate, you think you edged it, but you're wrong. Get back out here. Get back out here. I'm the umpire around here. What if an umpire had a problem with it? He's like, mate, I didn't give you out. You walk when I tell you to walk.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's a good question. It's a good question. Can he make? No, I don't think he can make him stay. It's cricket. It's meant to be the gentleman's game, right? Before we were sinking beers and throwing, stuff, and once the 80s came,
durries,
durries, all that on the field. When they turned it into a party, they turned cricket into a party down under. Yeah, because when you think of cricket, you're picturing lords. You're picturing well-dressed people. Wimbledon has dress standards. So does Lords. Australia turned cricket into a big old party. Get your esky.
Oh, and then India then took it next. India took it next level in terms of viewership, but I don't know if they're partying. They're not pissing on, are they?
They love it.
They love it. But they're high on their own excitement of the game. We have to drink 20 beers before we get into it. Just once on my mind.
It's fucking long, dude.
It's so long. You got to do something. You got to do something. Did you see? We can always go back to cricket, but just on my mind, did you see the Jack Ginnivan tackle on the weekend in AFL?
Which game was it? I don't know who this guy is.
Collingwood. Okay, so Jack Ginnivan's a first-year Collingwood player, and they have recently changed the rules virtually based on his conduct because he has been getting he's a small forward. He's had a very good year. And he does drop his knees a fair bit. He basically is a young Selwood, and the AFL is and also he's an easy guy to hate for whatever reason. He's got a bit of a flamboyant haircut going on. He's changed his hair a number of times, and he's only a first-year player. I don't know how he does it.
Wow.
And he raises his he leans into the tackle a bit. He raises his arm so the tackle slips high. It's very controversial. He's getting a lot of free kicks at goal just from copping high tackles. But I also don't think people are tackling very well, and that's the core of the issue. They need to go lower. He's a small man, and you know what he's going to do. So why are you giving him that? You have to look at the video of this. So they changed the rules. They basically say if you do anything to encourage high contact, I don't know exactly how the rule is, then we're not going to pay it. He gets like you got to look after the player. The guy, this Mason What's his name? Fucking Brody Mason or something. I don't know what his fucking name is. The guy who tackled him.
What's his name again?
His name's Jack Ginnivan.
Jack Ginnivan. I'm gonna look up some tackle videos because I want to see it.
So it's an Essendon player. I'm so shit with no. I don't know where he's.
Yeah, no, I've got him.
Okay.
I've got a video. It's fine.
Yeah, the AFL, you got to see a video. Even a still shot doesn't fully.
Yeah, no, I understand. But like, this is not a new thing, right? Encouraging free kicks.
No, it's not.
Like doing something like that. Or
the AFL will put the foot down for whatever reason. They really don't like him. Poor bloke.
Trying to see how he encouraged this.
He didn't, right? He maybe dropped his knees a little bit.
He dropped his knees a little bit.
And his arm flares out to the side, but it doesn't encourage. The high contact was already well and truly there. I think he did very little to encourage that one.
This is not what happened here, but it could be what's happening psychologically.
Yeah, okay. Well, the umpires, because they brought it in virtually for him and Selwood, but like people joke about it being brought in because of what he's doing.
Yeah.
Then when the umpire sees him cop this high tackle and they see his arm out a bit, they think he must have encouraged it. But now he's not given the benefit of the doubt.
Correct.
It's his whole head taken off.
This is what I was going to say is that it's an unwritten rule that if you're trying to influence a referee, they're going to think you did it on purpose, right? So arms out, example. I don't have the ball. That's the old. I don't have it. Give me a free kick. He's tackling. He's tackling me. Why is he tackling me? I don't have the ball. There's that classic one. This one, obviously, it was a clear free kick. To anyone who's watched the game in the last 20 years, it's a free kick.
Maybe not in the 80s.
He took his head off.
You can do whatever you want in the 80s.
Maybe not. You couldn't do whatever you want.
You cannot do that.
But no, but I guess what we're saying about the 80s there is that like people would get properly cleaned up, clotheslined, all that stuff, and nothing really happened a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Or people did get rubbed out, but it wasn't viewed the same way as it is today.
Can you imagine showing an alien, someone who doesn't understand the game, and you're like, you can't tackle someone above the shoulders, and you show them that video, and you say, that's all right, though. They're going to be pretty damn confused.
Well, it's one of the things about our game that I guess people don't really want to admit it, but they like all the bullshit in the game. They like the fact that there's contentious calls. They like the fact that the rules are sort of hard to
You can never fully grapple them.
It's all interpreted,
Yeah.
And I'm always fascinated. I went to a couple of AFL games while I was over. I was just come back from over in Melbourne. I went to a couple of games while I was there, and it's amazing how someone who's sitting 150 meters away from the ball has a different opinion to the guy standing 10 meters from the ball, the umpire.
Oh, you mean the guy in the crowd, the bloke in the crowd?
That's bullshit, umpire. Yeah. You're a fucking disgrace. These are words that were uttered by the gentleman seated 2 seats to my right. Yeah, he was angry. And funnily enough, the decision of the umpire was against his team. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen it when the umpire calls a free kick for your team, and you go, "That's bullshit. That is bullshit, umpire. That's not a free kick for my team." Of course, whenever it happens to your team, it's totally fine, right? That's the mentality. But no, they were quite angry. But yeah, they're nowhere near the ball. You haven't even taken the refs course. You haven't taken he's taken the refs course out there. He's standing out there. It's his job, so he has to do it as well. He's watching the ball. He's watching the play, and he makes a decision. Bro, it's actually unbelievable to call it like that.
But people, I think it comes back to people just love having an opinion, love having a voice. This is the problem with social media, right? Now you can go on and comment on something. You're that person in the crowd that has no fucking idea. You're the guy with the vacuous perspective.
Yep.
but you can comment, and it's out there now. Like probably not that many people hear it. It's a bit like yelling at the footy. Only the people in your immediate area hear it. But what you happen is you have enough of these comments going online, one or two of them, a proportion of them are going to get more traction or go viral or get comments from other people. And then the algorithm starts feeding people into it going, oh, you might like this comment, like this one's hot right now. And that one guy who's yelled the ridiculous vacuous perspective is now, getting a big audience.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if that could happen at the footy, where there's mics all around the ground, and then once someone yells something out and somehow the algorithms decide it will broadcast that over the loudspeaker?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Got your fucking green maggot.
Yeah. No, all right. That actually sounds like a great time.
Because sometimes they have the camera that goes around and you win the dance competition.
Sure.
And you get the prize or whatever it is, and they go, you're the one dancing the most, you win. They should do that for ridiculous things that you yell out at the game.
The game is meant to be experienced with the people directly around you. If someone gets kicked out, you know about it. If someone gets kicked out near you, you know about it. But a bay over, you might not even know about it. But I think there was a dude that got kicked out behind us. I went to the Freo Richmond game. That
did you?
Last 5 minutes of the game was better than the Eagles game that I witnessed the week before.
Wait, you witnessed the Eagles game the week before?
Yeah, because it was
you went
like 2 weekends.
Yeah, okay.
2 weekends. One for the first weekend, which we lost, and the second weekend was the Freo Dockers Richmond game. Crazy game. Crazy.
What the hell happened at the end there?
It was amazing. It was amazing. Not just the end, man. The end was great, right? Sure. But before the end, there was a mark taken on Richmond's attacking 50. He was probably 40 metres out, 45 metres out, man on the mark. And he's just waited too long with the ball. He was doing up his socks or whatever, and maybe doing a practice kick or two, like a swing.
He was trying to use all his time though.
In his defense, right? That's
he was
fair.
He didn't think that you could just get cold play on like that.
You absolutely can.
Yeah.
Anyway, he did get called to play on, and who came in? Amazing.
Oh, Frederick.
Smother of the season, game saver.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was 2 other game-saving moments where Richmond still had the ball in the attacking 50. They were still looking threatening, and a point would have done it.
Pretty hard to defend from a point.
Just kick it anywhere.
Yeah.
Just kick it anyway.
Just get the ball airborne, yeah.
With 3 seconds or 1 second to go, and he just instantly steps off the mark, plays on, siren. It was pandemonium when the siren went off. People were, because it's at the G. It's not at the G. It was at Marvel Stadium. Not a lot of supporters in Melbourne.
I had $2 on the draw, paying $51.
What?
I got $102.
Do you put a bet on the draw every week?
Not very often, but to be honest, I've probably sunk about $20 into it this year.
Yeah, $20, and sorry, it was paying 50 to 1.
No, yeah, it's 51 to 1. So I got $102 return.
Amazing. So that's like paid for 6 seasons of worth of those kind of bets, and all you have to do is hit once in the next 6 seasons, and you're okay.
Well, what I get weird about is when there hasn't been a draw all year. I know they're independent events, but I start to feel like there has to be a draw at some point. I've been kind of thinking about it recently that I want to get on a draw. And the only other reason I did is I felt like Freo are very defensive. And so low scoring games, I feel like are also more likely to be draws because there's less options of scores available. Do you see what I'm saying?
I would have started with that instead of saying there hasn't been a draw in a while, there hasn't been a draw in a while. That's much better to base your opinion on, is the low scoring team or teams. Brilliant.
If you think a team has a range of between 40 points if they suck and 120 if they're good, you've got a 1 in 80. So they're going to score a score, right? That's a given. They're going to be something. So the other team, they're going to score between 20 and 100, between 40 and 120. The other team, it's now a 1 in 80 because whatever score it is, the other team needs to hit that for it to be a draw. Whereas I feel like
True.
with Frio, the range is about 30 to 60. And I was like, and Frio are a super defensive team. So I put it down as like a 1 in 30.
Amazing. That's very good logic. They're very good defensively. They don't score a lot of points. Put the money on the draw.
I felt like
Freo.
they were ripe for a draw, but this is all with the benefit of hindsight. And as I said, I've bet on other ones that I don't even remember and lost them. But
is Freo's a good one to have in your mix though, because of the
great
reasons
one. Great
you said.
one.
Yeah. So we're not sponsored, by the way.
Ladbroke.
Great. Well
Neds.
done.
Take your game to the Neds level. I get so much like those like sports bet ads and stuff because I'm the right demographic and I like sports and somehow Google probably knows I'm interested in like.
I love how you said somehow. Somehow the computer knows what I'm into.
Someone mentioned at work. Someone mentioned that their partner is sponsored by Rusty, the surf brand. I didn't even know they still existed.
Oh yeah.
And then I did Google on my work computer, which is obviously on a different network and everything, the Rusty people that are sponsored to find him. And then I got an ad on YouTube tonight for Rusty surfwear. And I was like, what the I was like, I've never seen it before. And I get the same kind of ads. I get KFC, Hungry Jacks, Ned's, betting.
Take it to the next level.
And then all of a sudden out of the blue gets this Rusty ad, and I was like, "How?"
Oh man,
It's onto me, right?
I hate that. That's disgusting. And the reason it's disgusting is because you were trying to circumnavigate this. You thought you were outsmarting it.
Well, that's my work. That's my work life.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's no link. Can your phone does it listen to you?
But what did you say it out loud?
Okay, let's pick.
They said it out loud.
I know I said it. They said it out loud. Yeah, they said it loud.
Let's pick a brand that we haven't thought of in a while.
What about I got one. It has to also be a men's brand because otherwise the algorithm's not going to. Like if we say Sports Girl, we're not going to start getting Sports Girl ads. Let's go with Puma because I don't know. Do Puma even advertise?
I don't know if I want to pick that one. I don't even want to say it out loud, right? Because because if I say it out loud, the phone's obviously listening. So, because there's different ways to say that word.
What Puma?
I don't want to confuse it.
Puma.
Yeah, I don't want to confuse the phone. At the same time, I have because I like how it picked up on Rusty. That's pretty amazing.
It could be a coincidence, but I have never seen a Rusty ad. Like I know my adverts I get on YouTube. So you haven't thought of a product yet?
Well, I want to pick clothes, right? Because and I want to pick a brand that I wouldn't buy, which is every brand.
What about some highty-tighty like Calvin Klein?
Oh yeah.
Maybe just say it 3 times softly into your phone before you go to bed.
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. Yeah, and then open up a YouTube.
Possibility-wise.
Wait. Do you have an ad blocker though? How are you ever going to get the ads?
You
need to disable your ad blocker to allow it to see if it's listening to you or not.
Yeah. I probably would have to do that. No, I'll get some ads.
I had an email go around at work. You've been away 2 weeks. It was last Tuesday, and it said basically tomorrow there's going to be a protest outside the building.
I remember you telling me about this. Yes.
Yeah, I mentioned it just when I gave you a buzz when you're in Melbourne. There's going to be a protest outside the building. We're going to have extra security on. Don't be alarmed. It's going to go from 6:30 in the morning till 6 p.m. at night. There's going to be some Falun Gong. I don't really know how to pronounce it. Practitioners that are going to be around. And I was like, it sounded familiar. And now I've realised that they have a day each year because I recognised the sign that they had. And they're protesting or raising awareness of organ harvesting in China. Right. So I had I Googled them to figure out what Falun Gong is. And look, essentially it's
yeah.
Eh?
Just doing your due diligence, just checking it out.
Just checking it out because I was very interested to, well, because I heard someone in the office, I heard the word cult get thrown around. So instantly I went to my deleted items, was like, what is this cult thing going on? And they reckon it is a bit culty. It's a practice. It's a mind body traditional practice that originated in China.
Yes.
And I got the pamphlet from them. And what concerned me a little bit, I didn't talk to them. They were very Asian. I'm sure like we could have had a conversation, but I just took the pamphlet and went away. And I think a lot of people just throw it in the bin, but I put it in my pocket and I thought, this is great. Oh, this is for later kind of thing. But I didn't want to talk to them too much because I knew enough that it is at its core, it's about meditation. And I'm kind of into yoga and meditation and things like that. So I was a little bit worried that I didn't know if I was more susceptible to fall into this cult because I already like some of their stuff.
Yep.
Or am I less susceptible because I already like some of the stuff, so I'm not going to conflate the good stuff with the culty stuff.
I think I know what you're saying.
Because I've already got an insight.
You already like meditating.
I don't need to now meditate at the with these people or whatever, or look further into it. I was like, yeah, I know it's great. There's great benefits. Whereas maybe if you never have done any meditation and so you don't understand the benefits, when you start meditating with them, you start not because you like the meditation, you start adopting all the other weird practices.
Yes.
If any.
Sure.
But anyway, I didn't realize how big it is.
How big is it? What do you mean? How many people?
So I got the Wikipedia. By 1999, estimated to have 70 million practitioners in China. And then, because it was getting so big, the government started cracking down on it. Mm-hmm. So in July 99, the Chinese Communist Party leadership initiated a nationwide crackdown and multifaceted propaganda campaign directed against the practice.
Yes.
And so this main guy, his name is, what is his name? Fucking name was like, the main bloke, who I forget his name, it's not important. Li Hongji? Yeah, Li Hongji. He's now in the US. Mm-hmm. And they've got this like huge compound. So their global headquarters is in the state of New York. It's called Dragon Springs.
Yes,
Check out that.
Yeah. I'm on the Wikipedia now for Dragon Springs.
It is large.
There's no pictures of it.
Oh, I've seen pictures somewhere.
I'm gonna have to just do a straight Google search for Dragon Springs instead.
But what their argument is essentially is that the people that practice this in China get their their organs harvested because this is their way of cracking down. They reckon the way of disincentivizing people joining this practice is to, well, I don't know how they get them. I presume they arrest them and put them in one of those like Uyghur-like concentration camps. But in this pamphlet they've given me, they reckon it's pretty interesting, and they've had like QCs and stuff review what's going on, and they say they basically it seems on pretty good authority that there's some sinister stuff going on. Sure. And I'm a victim of, I got the pamphlet from them, right? So clearly I've got a bias. I'm not listening to the CCP on this one. I haven't got their pamphlet about what they think of the issue, but they raise some good things. They reckon this pamphlet, they say in Australia, it's of course, well, it's voluntary donors, but they say it's voluntary donors in Australia. But as you know, I got like basically hacked for my like voluntary donation.
I mean, granted, they will wait till you're dead before they'll take your organs.
I mean, if you listen to the end of episode 2, the last 10 minutes I describe how I became an organ donor. But yeah, they reckon it's a 1 to 4 year wait time in Australia. And in China, it's 2 to 4 weeks waiting time.
How is that possible?
They say they argue that these people, these practitioners, have been prisoners of basically they call them prisoners of conscience. They've basically been they've been, I guess, arrested for following this practice, and they're just hanging out. And then when someone comes along, paying a paying customer needing an organ, I presumably the government says, "Be right back. We got a couple of guys out back."
Wow. Yeah, right.
They chop them to bits, and there you go. I mean, it looks all pretty legit. One thing I started thinking about, and I was like, there was about, I don't know, 10 people when I went out there that were sort of handing out pamphlets, and they do it every year. They obviously believe that there's some stuff going on, or they're not going to be wasting their time. I'm wondering how, but they're also into this pretty culty thing. I don't know who to believe. I'm like, you got a cult telling me there's like a conspiracy going on.
Yeah.
What do I make of this? What do you make of this?
Well, it's difficult to say. Obviously, I haven't really looked into it too much, so I have no idea, right?
Well, it reminds me
the numbers of that it's a short wait time in China compared to the rest of the world. You know, the math doesn't really add up, because yes, if you've got a billion people, then there's more people who actually need organs. So
I thought, it's easier to make a link between. It's easier to make a match, right? Because because you need, presumably, to have a successful transplant, you need to have an appropriate recipient and donor, right?
Sure.
So if you say it's a 1 in 10 chance of being an appropriate donor, let's say it's 1 in 100, because I think it's going to be easier math. So I come along and I need an organ from someone, it's not readily available, of course, because we don't have anyone, waiting in the ice bath.
Yep.
And then I have to wait for that unlikely probability of someone, dying, being in an accident, and their organs and they're an organ donor, and they manage to preserve the organs, like myself,
doing the right thing.
And then you get lucky, and then you get I don't know if they know how it works or whatever. Now, so if it's 1 in 100, say in Australia, say only 100 people die a year. I'm just fucking making up this thing.
Okay, yeah.
Because you can't have an old person die. You don't want an old organ. You need a young, fresh organ. Yeah. So say 100 people die. So you'll get, if you're next on the wait list, when the right person comes up, you're next to go. It's a 1 in 100 chance. Okay, now in China, let's say their population is about 40 times ours.
Correct.
So if you are you're at the top of the line, and it's a 1 in 100 chance, they have 4,000 people die a year.
It's not 40 times; it's 400 times, right?
Is it? Might be.
Well, 40 times 2, like I guess that's 800 million, right? Is that what? That makes sense.
Yeah, something like that. I remember thinking that it was around 40 times at one point.
Wow. Okay. No, you're probably
every
right.
one Australian is 40 Chinese.
Yep. Okay. But
so the 4,000 people die a year. So your organ comes up real quick.
No.
If you can make the link. Yeah, I don't know. No. Is that how?
That's not how it works.
Is that a bit flawed?
Yes.
My on the run.
In that.
Is that vacuous?
When you times the number by 40, it's the same on both sides of the equation.
No, but I'm saying that you're now top of the. Let's just assume you're always like next to go. You're the next up in the the queue.
Okay, sure. You're in the queue next. Yeah, there's a very good shot. Much better shot.
But anyway, it was fascinating. I watched an ABC report on YouTube about it as well, about the guy, and not so much the organ harvesting aspect of it. But yeah, it's pretty wild.
Interesting. Yeah, that's pretty gnarly, man.
And I had something
Anyway,
else
if you're an
on my
organ
mind.
donor,
Oh, that's right, organ donor.
get that.
I didn't tell you. So on the back of our conversation about, so I'm as I mentioned, I'm an organ donor, and to summarize, it happened by accident because it just said check if you're an organ donor, put in your details. I didn't read the next line that says if you're not, we'll sign you up. So I put in my details. All of a sudden, I'm a donor, and we had a discussion about it, and I went full Egyptian on it. In that, So you need, what's the idea when you go to the Egyptian afterlife?
Your heart gets weighed against the feather of justice or something.
Okay, and that concerned me.
Horus wants your heart to check it out to make sure that you lived a good life. And if you didn't, not good. It's not good.
But you need your heart in the afterlife because they leave the heart in the body, right? But they remove the brain.
All the other organs.
They remove all the other organs. So I decided to go full Egyptian because they might be right. I like Egyptian culture. So I figured it took me a while to figure out how to change my organ donation preferences. They say on the letter that I got, it listed all the organs I'm giving. And it says if you want to change anything, you can change your preferences online.
You did not.
I did. And I changed it. And I left my heart and my heart valves.
What do you need the valves for?
Well, it just seemed weird.
I know, but
it seemed weird to break it down like that. And I feel a part of me feels bad if all the other ones are going. But then the other part of me says it's also mine. And what happens if the Egyptians are right?
Yeah, no, okay.
It's a cultural thing, and I'm fitting in with the Egyptian culture.
It's different though.
What's different?
Well, you could die. They could check your organs, and they go, "Don't need any of them. Don't need any of them. We don't need the liver or the kidneys. No, we don't need them." So they leave them in your body. Now you rock up to the afterlife. Heart's there. Everything else is still there. And they're like, "Is your brain still in your head?" And you're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" You know what I'm saying?
Well,
you need them to take out all of your other organs.
Well,
it's non-negotiable. Get it amended. Say, I want to not donate my heart and
valves. But they don't take your spleen. So you can't stipulate. They don't want the spleen for whatever reason, or the pancreas. I don't think the pancreas is on there either.
I don't think the Egyptians want it either.
But what my big concern is now that we're talking about it even more, I think every time we talk about it, I get a different perspective on
it. Yes.
What I'm concerned about now is I turn up to the pearly gates of heaven.
Oh, shit.
Okay. And then they have one look at me and they realise I didn't give my heart or my heart valves. And that they hold that against me. They say, look at this stick bag. Gives all these organs away and keeps the most important one.
Holy shit.
Should I be concerned?
Yes. Get the heart back on there.
I think I might need to change my preferences once again.
So the Egyptians preserved separately the stomach, liver, lungs, and intestines.
Wait, stomach, liver, lungs, and intestines. Say they preserve those separately. Yeah, that's right. They have 4 canisters.
Canoptic jars.
Canoptic jars.
Yeah.
Are they used for anything else? Do they put peanut butter in them or anything? No, just spleens.
Yeah, because you take all the stuff with you to the afterlife. Take your boat, take your slaves, take some jewelry and stuff.
Because they leave them with the mummified body, right? In the same
they take all that
room,
everything.
Yeah, they have the canoptic jars. So how many? So we've only found in modern days we've only found one undisturbed burial chamber, right? Is it Tutankhamun? I think.
Right, okay, sure.
Were the canoptic jars in there?
Must have been.
So this Tutankhamun slow cooked spleen over how long? What, 3,000 years? I don't know. Was it how old was Tutankhamun?
Good point.
Do we have Tutankhamun's spleen?
Yeah, we'll go. No, so
Do we have
lungs,
his?
stomach, intestines, and liver. We don't have his spleen. A
Oh, okay.
gold chest held 4 canoptic jars containing the pharaoh's organs.
Oh, man, that is grim. That is grim.
It is a little bit, isn't it? Now, his ruling, because you wanted to know when it was, 1332 BC to 1323 BC. So he reigned for 9 years or 11 years, right? I think it's 9. It's fucking hard to read in backwards. You know how it's backwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were undisturbed in the Valley of the Kings till what, 1940 or 1930, or when did it get discovered?
Yeah, I think it was early 20th century. I think somewhere around there.
Yeah, 1914.
Okay.
So very cool, like very cool. We go to something? Didn't we go to an exhibition or something?
We went to the recreation. Yeah, they show because they documented obviously very very carefully where everything was positioned and what it all was, and how ornate was. And so there was just a recreated setup. But I think they what do you call it? Whether you deconstruct like a sandwich or whatever and put all the elements out on a plate, they deconstruct the room, I believe. So you have like the coffin, and then inside the coffin was a bloody Russian Baba Ganoush doll.
Yes,
because the final thing was like as big. The final like gold coffin it was in was like as big as a room. It was as big as the room.
It was really big.
It was so big. And then inside, like 20 versions, smaller versions, and then eventually you have the little body, and then the body doesn't even have the gear in it.
So what do you mean gear in it?
Not the spleen, the lungs, the intestines.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, you're right.
It's weird they keep those separate. They must. I mean, do we know why? It's too much.
I've got a shrine and sarcophagi picture which shows all of them individually, which looks really amazing.
Cool. I don't know why. I've read this whole book on Egypt. What's the point? I don't remember like diddly squat.
I just posted it to the Discord in general.
Yeah.
Have a look at the
Okay. Yeah.
There's the boxes fitting inside one another.
Oh, how big's the biggest one?
The biggest one is that room-sized object that you
Yeah, right. Well, the smallest one fits a whole body, and it's got the eagle wings on it. Oh, that's sick. Okay.
It's all important stuff. You need all that. You need all that.
Wow, so you can imagine how big the big one is. If you can fit the whole body, probably a little Egyptian body though, a little malnourished.
He was 13 or 14 when he died.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So what? It could be only, might only be a bit over a meter or something. Maybe it's a meter and a half long.
Maybe they put him in an adult-sized tomb because maybe they just didn't,
Yeah.
How long does it take to build one of these things?
Yeah.
Like, where's his body because I would assume that you build it while you're alive, right? You build the tomb.
Oh, yeah.
The whole purpose of Egyptian being a pharaoh is your dad sits you down when you're young and says, do you know what the point of all this is? And he goes, well, to live a good life. And he's like, no. The point is to die properly. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to do that.
The whole of life is preparation for the afterlife.
Correct.
In Egypt. I love their fascination on the afterlife. Do you know, now that I say that, what's the point in reading this book on Egypt? Because I don't remember anything. Some of this, I guess, might come out. But sure. maybe there is a point. But there's no word for death in the Egyptian language.
Fascinating.
How cool, right? Because death is like what we're obsessed with. Like it's probably, that word gets used a lot.
Book of the Dead.
Yeah, but it will be. They don't have a word for death. It might be. You could be. I don't know. Dead. I don't know where that comes from. The Book of the Dead. That's Tibetan.
No.
Oh.
It's an ancient Egyptian funerary text.
It's funny.
On papyrus, used from the beginning of the New Kingdom around 1550 BC to around 50 BC. So that means that your pharaoh's kicking around at 3000 BC, 2000 BC. They didn't have a Book of the Dead, all right? I don't know.
Okay, here we go. I just typed in, does Egypt have a word for death? Because I just want to make sure I had the right
Yes, yeah,
culture.
let's get it. Yeah,
So
let's
it
get
says
it.
there is no word in ancient Egyptian which corresponds to the concept of death as usually defined as ceasing to live, since death was simply a transition to another phase of one's eternal existence.
Interesting.
I love the fact that the highest culture back then is like, that's not the end. This is not the end. Because it seems to us like the most logical conclusion. You have
And
to
the
have a word.
interesting thing is that I was under the impression that the Egyptian pharaohs were essentially doing a different practice to the general folk out there.
Mm.
They weren't doing the same thing as the rest of it, as everybody else. They were doing their own thing because they're like walking gods, right? So, because I don't think your everyday man got his heart out, like heart left in, canoptic jars for all his organs, nice place to sleep, all that sort of stuff. There is no afterlife for them.
No.
I don't know. Maybe there isn't. For them,
I think the idea is, though, they're not properly prepared for it, so they're not going to they will get into like the purgatory point of death and not through it's like a series of not challenges.
There's a paywall to get into
There's
heaven.
There's a paywall. Big fat paywall. You got to pay for that shit. It's like OnlyFans. It's the OnlyFans of the afterlife.
I mean, how much money would you pay for an afterlife?
How can money?
So no, here's how it works. This is essentially what they're doing. They're building a big enough tomb while they're alive. They're preparing through writing script on the walls and taking out their organs and all that sort of stuff. It's all money, right?
But it's effort. It's not necessarily money. The money is translated into something else. You're paying someone else to do effort and construct things like.
Sure, but let's just say, for argument's sake, that your belief is that when you get to the afterlife, they will charge you for the afterlife.
They will charge me.
At the door.
God.
At the door. Now, you don't know how much it costs.
Mm.
You don't know how much it costs. It could be 10 bash. It could be 10 bash, right? It could be 10 billion bash.
So you got that on you in the afterlife? You brought that. Did you leave your wallet?
No, you've got it in your living life. You're thinking, I need to. Sure, I can go on a little holiday, but I need to keep squirreling away money into the afterlife account.
Do they accept Bitcoin?
I'm sure they would now, right?
Because, maybe not now. There's probably a crypto afterlife coin. We could market that.
You convert your dollary dues into heaven coins, and then you use them to gain access to digital heaven.
Oh, digital heaven. Is that different from analog heaven?
Well, like
paper heaven.
You know how I feel about heaven. I think it's like it's got the same technology as us, right? Except they're slightly ahead of us.
Just slightly.
No, yeah, always ahead. Always ahead. And we came to that conclusion because heaven had gates before humans made gates. So they already had gates before the concept of the gate was created by humans.
We don't really know when the first gate was, though. There could have been a gate. That's a pretty basic thing.
What do you mean? What do you mean there could have been a gate?
There could have been a gate in the like the first bloody chimp could have made a gate.
Right, we're talking like it's when we build stuff, planes.
You just lay a palm tree over your cave entrance, and that's a gate.
Exactly, it's a gate. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It doesn't have hinges and stuff.
I'm of the opinion that without like birds, we would not have developed planes, and without seeing a swan on the water, we wouldn't have developed like boats and stuff. I think we use them as like inspiration to create things. We're like, how would we get across the water? And they're like, oh, well, you could go underwater like a fish, and you'd be like, that's brilliant. Make it. Then you've got a submarine, right? Or whatever. They're like
robot fish.
Submarines are like whales. They come up after a long time. They have to come up after a little while. And
submarines are like whales. That's a That's quite true.
Yeah, they are. Well, I think it's all based off animals and stuff. I think it's always going to be that way.
I don't think it's based off an animal. I think that's a efficient way of moving in the ocean. You have to be that kind of shape. And
yeah, well, I guess that what I mean is like we took our inspiration from nature. You know, how did we figure out how to make the wings on a plane?
Yeah,
we looked at birds and the way that their feathers interact with the.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and
so when we went, we can apply that to. We can make something that will allow us to do that.
Man, speaking of entry into heaven and how much it costs,
yeah,
I was talking to this girl I know in the city. She reckons she's going out with the best stripper in Perth, which I found hilarious because I don't know if you have a competition.
Oh, so he's been crowned the best.
I don't know if he's saying it, she's saying it.
It's widely regarded.
It sounds like doing quite well. Anyway, She went to a sex party.
Right.
And I was like, what? And then she kept going. And I was like, whoa. I was like, what's a sex party? Like, I know the words. I know sex and party. And I've seen Eyes Wide Shut. But what is a sex party in Perth?
Yeah, okay.
She reckons somewhere in I was asking lots of questions but getting very confused. Anyway, it cost her $130 to get in.
What?
So that's the cost of which I found weird because why are you paying? I thought it'd be like an invite only thing.
Sure.
Right? Who needs the money? She reckons there was 300-400 people. They have there's like a dance floor. People aren't just going out and dance floor, but there's also little rooms that have open doors and stuff. And there might be 4 or 5 people going at it.
Yeah, right.
They want to be watched. They're exhibitionists.
Oh, yeah, sure.
They're enjoying putting on a show.
Yeah.
Some people are wearing masks, but most not.
Ooh. Yeah, gotcha. I'm with you. Very eyes wide shut.
Eyes wide shut.
Yeah.
There are consent monitors walking around, making sure everyone's having a good time. No one's being coerced.
Good.
I was kind of just surprised about, I don't know, it seemed very movie-ish to me.
Yeah.
I was just a bit surprised that I'm surprised but not surprised. I can see why.
Well, yeah, you could see why it would be a thing.
But I just didn't, for some reason, I just didn't think it happened here.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe it happens everywhere, obviously.
It probably does happen everywhere.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she apparently doesn't. She's not really into that, but, a lot of people go just to, I don't know, have a good time, just to check out what's happening.
See what it's all about.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But I was like, it's so weird. I would not be comfortable there. I don't know if I'm approved.
How many people out of that 400 people are going for the first time? How many? How many of the people out of the 400?
Oh, I see. So who goes back? I reckon the people on the beds or whatever they are that are going.
They're seasoned.
They're seasoned. They come back every Saturday night. I reckon, and then a good proportion don't come back.
It's a good hobby.
Gets the heart rate up. Good exercise.
Some people play volleyball. Some people play netball. Some people just go to sex parties.
Maybe some people are competitive. They're like,
oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you be competitive in it. I don't know if it's a speed thing or a numbers game. I don't know.
Yeah. It's obviously a speed thing. No, that's fascinating.
Maybe it's like Greco-Roman wrestling. It's like they're trying to hold them on their back or something for a certain amount of time.
Consent monitors are sort of looking out for that kind of behaviour. I think that's kind of their job.
Yeah. Anyway, that sort of surprised me.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah, you don't expect that, right?
It was a big week for me last week, talking about sex parties, Falun Gong.
Yeah.
Tour de France. And Boris Johnson's gone.
What?
Boris Johnson's gone.
Bojo. I mean, crumbled to the pressure, right? I mean, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion for a while, right?
Well, that's why I was surprised that he did crumble. He seemed to be able to withstand everything. He was a bit of a Trump-like character in the way he could just stand tall with everything crumbling around him.
Yeah. Yep, I agree with that.
I don't even know really, other than having some drinks at 10 Downey Street or whatever it is during COVID.
What he's done wrong.
I don't really know exactly what the scandals are. I couldn't really keep up. I don't really pay attention.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
You're telling people that they can't see their loved ones even if they're dying at the same time. Party.
Yeah, I know. I know.
It's pretty bad. But it's not like,
I agree it's bad.
It's just not a good look.
It's not a good look. It's not a good look. It's not a good terrible look.
He was the mayor of London before he was PM. So you know how like we have a mayor?
Basil.
It'd be like him becoming prime minister.
No, all I think about him is now commentating the speed skater.
Yeah, well, so that was him.
Yeah.
There you go. It'll always be associated with that.
I'm having a mind blank. What's his name again?
What, Bradbury?
Stephen Bradbury,
yeah. So he commentated Bradbury's finish. Huge. Oh, that's cool. Do you think, and I wasn't going to talk about this, but do you think there's a bit of competitiveness in between commentators when the big moment's happening? Or do you think they know it's their turn to do the thing? So like, I'll give you an example. Grand final. BT commentates pretty much the entire passage of play from Vardy taking the mark to Dom Sheed.
Fuck, I want to watch that again.
Taking the kick, right? It's all BT, right? Now, I've witnessed like, Bruce McAvaney and Dennis Cometti get together for grand final day and, it must kill you when you've got the best line for something but someone's already started on the passage of play. So you're like, okay, he has to do this, right? He's mid. But do you think there's a bit of competitiveness to like get the big moment? You know what I mean? Get to like, oh, here something could be developing here. I should take over here.
There has to be, even if they say there isn't, there has to be. But I think there's a bit of a hierarchy.
Yep.
Well. And I don't know if there's a discussion beforehand about the last bit or if they just know who's going to take it. And there's a bit of a flow as well. I think the commentators are pretty good. I think they would just give it to BT. He's the excitement machine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's the best commentator, but I think in an exciting moment, he's probably the guy I want to hear because he says some ridiculous things. He dropped the F-bomb.
It's a brilliant one. That's a brilliant thing.
When the dogs got up against someone.
Boyd's kicked the goal. Fuck. He says, Boyd's kicked a goal. Boyd's kicked a goal from the centre square. I can't. Fuck. And they knew he blew it because I think it's
they all love it. They fucking love it.
Yeah.
Oh, the guys
who's let it out of the bag kind of thing. Like, they love it.
Yeah, and you've obviously had a chance to check out the James Webb reveals.
Yeah, dude. Have we not talked about that?
Got him as your screensaver? Oh, well, we just talked about the one that Biden, because our last show.
That's right. It was the night of the reveal.
Yeah.
Finally, we can talk about this. Sorry, man. I'm with you now. Bro, worst live stream I've ever seen.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
A telescope 1,000,000 miles from Earth and get amazing pictures from it. But you can't do a live stream.
It was painful.
I can do a live stream, NASA. They took the video down, by the way. You can't even get the replay.
Really?
Because the video of this replay doesn't exist, right? Because they botched it so bad. They tried really hard. They crossed to Perth. Did you see that bit?
Yeah, I did, actually. I don't know where they were, though. I couldn't sort of figure it out.
Where were they? They would have been at one of the universities in a lecture theatre or something like that, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I think it may have even been Curtin University, only because we have – the only reason I say that, I was trying to think what links to NASA do we have. Curtin have a huge planetary science department and they're trying to position themselves. Like they do a lot of advertising at space events and things like that. And I've got this guy called Phil Bland who is like the head of it. And they do a lot of good stuff actually. And with our big miners, there's a lot of links between Curtin University, Rio and NASA.
Interesting.
Because big mining uses big machines and big automation, and space is all about automation and machines and like positioning, communications, all that. And so like as a lot of the mining fleets are going autonomous, NASA is saying, you're doing some good work over there, Rio. Can we partner with you?
Well, do you think it's also that, like, hey, man, when we finally get up on that rock, we're going to want to mine it?
Oh, that too. Yeah, then the mining for sure.
So I think the sort of short-term goal would be we're going to put a base on the moon and be able to launch missions from the moon. So we need to be able to create things on the moon.